This week on It's Happening Out. Do you party and play? ChemSex. Is the problem worse in the gay community? Competitive sports, trans champs, what are the rules going forward? Acting gay, Eric McCormick talks about Will and Grace. Special guest, Sir Ari Gold, openly gay pop star and songwriter. Lifestyle expert, NapoleonPlays. Famous trans activist, Aaron Phoenix. DJ Diva Power Infiniti. Blog Cameron Republican, Joe Brookman. And gay guru, Al Ferguson.
Hello, America, and welcome to another episode of Thursday night, 8 o'clock. It's Happening Out. And we are America's most popular gay live talk show. We're coming tonight from the gayest place on planet Earth, Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we say hello to everybody. We have quite a packed show for you tonight. We're going to play some games. We have some serious topics. We have some whimsical topics. And we have a lot of variety that I think you're going to like. So are we ready to get started, everybody?
Absolutely. Ready as ever.
Before we start with our first topic, I remind you that we would like you to like our page and share it with your friends. Last week, more than 100,000 of you watched It's Happening Out. We thank you very much and help us continue to propel the show by telling and sharing us with your friends. First, let's begin with headlines. Now, several interesting headlines were in the news this week. The first is about Tumblr. Now, honestly, when we started It's Happening Out, I never thought that we would have Tumblr in our headline segment. But we begin the show with Tumblr, and they made big international news this week that created a firestorm in social media. And what did Tumblr do? They eliminated sexual content and pornography on the platform.
Adult content at all.
Adult content. And an interesting thing happened. As they made this announcement, they started in their phase-in of the elimination of sexual content and adult entertainment or pornography in the LGBT community. That's where they started first.
Of course they started there.
So, let's talk about it really quick. What do you think about the big headlines on Tumblr?
Well, you know, it's been real fun and the cool, edgy thing to do all week to talk about, you know, how hilarious it is to shut down porn on Tumblr. But first of all, that was the best place to find porn. There's no lie there. So that's a real damn shame in the first place. And especially for me or folks like me who would watch such things. Because that was really... I
don't watch porn, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was actually completely unfamiliar with the acts of sex at all.
So I've heard. But Tumblr was one of the only places that had a market really for FTM porn specifically, and genderqueer and trans porn.
Define that for us.
FTM means female to male.
Female to male.
You can find trans women all over porn. Granted, they're fetishized and all that, but it's easy to find. It's not as easy to find FTM, female to male porn. But on Tumblr, it was everywhere. And it was not only, the buck angels. It was not only the hyper-masculine, the typical what we're used to seeing. It was all different variations of the gender spectrum. And now there's not really a place to go either for workers to post their content or for people to go see it. And representation, that...
You mean sex workers posting on
sex
Tumblr.
workers,
okay.
Adult content creators, if you will. That's taken away one of their platforms. But it's also taken away one of the places for, young adults who are trans, who are queer, who are whatever, going to find that content and find people that look like themselves in erotic content.
Well, first off, I want to ask, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but... I want to ask, because I've not consumed Tumblr content, because the only place to consume adult entertainment is on Pornhub.
Way behind the times.
In terms of Tumblr, why did they make this decision? Do you have a guess as to why?
I know exactly why they did. This is all part of the whole SESTA and FOSTA nightmare. If you look it up, it basically has to do with supposedly stopping human trafficking. But what it's actually doing, and advocates who work against human trafficking have even said it's done nothing to help. It's actually made things worse. And what it really does is it targets sex workers.
But it doesn't just target sex workers. It targets anyone that wants an expression of sexuality. This is an attack on sexuality. Mm-hmm. You don't get to have any kind of extreme experiences in what you want to have your inner truths recognized in porn. It is impossible. It is actually impossible. Obviously, if you've ever tried Pornhub, you know it's not there, so good for you.
Right.
But it's not anywhere. You can't find this information. You can't find any of these types of extreme niche topics anywhere but Tumblr, and now it's gone. And
but Tumblr as a business is not a business focused on the porn industry.
But that is literally their entire business.
They won't suffer from that. They won't suffer from that loss. It's the workers who actually post there and use the platform who will suffer from it.
I can't believe that in the larger scheme of what their business model is, that's really, I don't believe that that's the impact. I think they made a decision because Apple moved them off their platform because of the adult content, because to be in Apple Pay and to be downloaded, you can't have adult content.
Yeah.
And so they were removed. It's a business decision from their perspective because they grew up, Tumblr grew up as a large blog, right?
For porn.
No, it wasn't.
Do you use Tumblr? Have you, do you use,
internet
is that a porn place for you?
Yes, but I've also used it for blogs. I follow a lot of blogs that are on Tumblr, and they have nothing to do with porn. Yeah. So there's a whole segment of the industry that they started out with Tumblr that the porn stuff has kind of taken over and weighed the business part of it down.
I'm curious, do you agree with Joe's observation that Tumblr's decision will have no economic impact on Tumblr?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think it'll have... a lot of people think that Tumblr is going to be shut down now. I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's really going to have, like Joe said, Apple would not have them on the Apple Store.
Google Play.
With the adult content. And I understand that part of it, but I think it's this whole SESTA and FOSTA thing and this guise of protecting us against human trafficking is the umbrella kind of issue above all of that.
Okay, and I hear that point. So if you move beyond it...
Reddit or
wait.
Craigslist.
If you move...
Craigslist did shut down their...
It was, and that's part of the same issue is that now you can't... Because social media is responsible for any interactions between people. This is part of that. That's what you were describing before. And that's part of the problem now. Sexuality is as individual as a fingerprint. This is something that is now going to affect how people can learn to understand who they are.
Here's my question from that. So if this has happened, Craigslist, adult content is gone.
I did not know that.
And it is. It's been gone for about a year and a half now. And not that I would know that in any possible way, by the way. And Tumblr has now made this decision. Where will people that consume content this way, where are they going to turn?
It's hard to say. I mean, a lot of content creators do have their own websites or they're on other platforms such as, porn sites specifically where they sell their content. But it's hard to say whether or not they're going to go seek that out.
Can you imagine Pornhub or some other RedTube or something like that creating, allowing content? Do you think that's what's going to happen?
Well, I mean, anybody can post on there. You've just got to be age verified. Not that I would know that for any reason.
I was speaking with Antonio Biaggi, who was on the camera a couple weeks ago. But as someone who has performed on camera, he said, "I'm very happy about this. I've gotten 10 extra subscribers this week. So I guess maybe it is good for a subsect of people." It could be a
blessing in disguise for some people.
That is a short-term gain that will not last for a long time.
Exactly.
You must have aggregate concentration to be successful. That's why it was successful in Tumblr. So don't kid yourself, even while I understand that observation. In the long run, it will harm
Well, and
many,
Tumblr
many
was
people.
also one of the few places where sex workers could post their content and be paid directly and not have another company taking a huge portion of that profit.
You would be paid directly on Tumblr?
Well, you could post Venmo and things to be paid directly with.
Okay. Well, anything else in terms of our reaction to Tumblr? Other headlines in the news this week happened today. The announcements for the Golden Globes were made. I thought interesting in that several gay-related topics are very big at the Golden Globes. I'm very excited, personally. Lady Gaga was nominated as Best Actress. Star is Born was nominated as Best Film. Bradley Cooper for both Best Director and Best Actor. And the Gianni Versace Mini was nominated for many awards. What do y'all think about the Golden Globe announcements?
Firstly, I think calling some of those... Lady Gaga had a large following of gay people, sure, but to say that she is an LGBT artist or that she is representative of our community is pushing it quite a lot because she actually has nothing to do with us at this point. Her career is based on other things.
Although I saw today is published that she's actually come out. as gay.
I think she's
Oh,
been
then
out
that's-
as bisexual or pansexual
I was
forever.
going to say, because
I
I didn't
don't
agree
know.
with what you said at
Okay,
all.
yeah.
Lady Gaga is
I mean,
If
Born
that's the
This
case,
Way.
I'm not a
very
huge
new.
fan, but I
Born
Yes,
This Way.
she's been about self-identity her entire time. But I literally went to school 3 years after her with teachers that had her. That was never a part of her brand. That was not any of it.
Napoleon, I'm
She's-
curious.
she
When
is-
are you going to
look,
stop dropping the bomb of I went to school with Lady Gaga?
Thank
I
you.
promise
We
you-
got
I
it. We
wasn't
got
gonna
As
say
it.
soon as you stop telling me how fabulous you are, I will
Okay,
stop
but it took me
reminding you.
it took me 50 years to figure it out. I'm sure Lady Gaga probably didn't know it in high school.
My point is that
And
she's
figured it
no,
out and
I
come out
love
now.
her because
I
she's
mean,
an
really.
expert. She's an expert at marketing, and that's what she's doing. She's marketing. She's also
She's
an
a
amazing and
talented,
talented artist.
wonderful-
She's absolutely talented. I'm not denying that at all.
Well, Stars Born was amazing.
But
I'm
there
sorry,
are
go
there are
ahead.
other portions of the Golden Globes that I think are actually more interesting that don't necessarily have to do with LGBTQ.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
Okay, Renaissance
We've
man
heard
of the
that.
past. But what I'm actually most interested in is Lucas Hedge because in it's called Boy Erased. He deals with his personal understanding of what addiction is from an outside perspective,
Yeah.
and I'm super fascinated to see what somebody that is part of an all-star family does with that information.
Yeah.
There are so many other things in terms of overall
Everybody knows about
representation.
Boy Erased in terms of going through the conversion therapy.
Yeah.
There are so many people that are involved in so many great products that are involved in these Golden Globes. I'm excited to see how they get represented because we are slowly getting better at actually representing all of America and not just the subsets.
Boy Erased is a really important topic. That
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that
Yeah.
up.
Anybody else? Any thoughts about the Golden Globes that they thought was important?
Well, I can't wait till we have ourselves America's Most Gay Talk Show invited to the Golden Globes. Make sure to do that.
I would love to do it. If there can only be 4 go, I know which one's not. All right.
They definitely
We'll
want
see.
the unicorn.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because we're magical.
Yeah. The Log Cabin Republicans are totally embraced at the Golden Globes.
Yes.
Yeah, got it. All right. So those are our headlines in the news this week. Relatively slow news. We're going to talk about the president's funeral in a few minutes. The next thing that we want to talk about is something that Power, and welcome to the show, Power.
She's our special guest this week.
Yes, our special guest.
She's being cuddled over there by
Yes.
that fabulous cloth.
Yes.
Well, let me just say that I'm late because I'm a late bitch because I have never been on Tumblr, and literally I probably just heard about Tumblr for the first time. One of the first episodes we did here on It's Happening Out.
I remember you.
Girl, you've only got
commenting.
like 10
Tumblr.
days.
Yeah, yeah.
Say what?
You've
Yeah.
got like 10 days to check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
Yeah.
And it's
I'll
gone.
have to
Yeah.
catch up. So you notice I was quiet on the subjects that I don't know jack shit about.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack shit is all you'll know for only 10 more
Right.
days.
Power,
All right,
Power makes her
okay,
own
all
porn.
right.
She doesn't worry about watching.
Power this week did a post that was quite interesting to me, and it was talking about ChemSex and PMP and
Just party and play.
yeah, party and play, and how chemical enhancement affects sex, and specifically in the context of the gay community. And Power had quite a fantastic and interesting conversation, and we decided to talk about it tonight. And the question about chemsex and PMP is the problem of chemsex more acute and unique in the gay community? What do y'all think?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question directly, but just to give a little bit more of a backdrop, I had in fact made a post, and basically I asked the question if anybody finds it more challenging to have sex, regular sex, en natural, once they have stopped partying and playing, and once they've stopped living a life of sex and drugs. I am openly and very public about my drug use and the fact that I do consider myself a drug addict, regardless of the fact that I have
Recovery.
Yes, I don't really see too much of a difference or distinction. When I say a drug addict, I mean even if you haven't done drugs for 10 years, I think that the safe place and the safe attitude is that you're still a drug addict, because every single day is a day-by-day challenge.
Similar to an alcoholic.
Right.
Okay.
So
Well, alcohol's a drug.
Yeah, right.
So, and I know in my own experience, I have lived La Vida Loca. As a club personality, my life has been sex, drugs, and house music. So for me to get back to a place where I can enjoy sex naturally without drugs was a bit of a challenge. And I kind of thought that I was the only one until recently, actually, coming down here to Fort Lauderdale for It's Happening Out, I encountered a few friends that I've known for years, and they also told me that they struggle with having, normal sex without drugs. So that opened up a conversation, and when I made the post, everybody started flooding in, and it was just kind of refreshing and inspiring to see how many people said that they still struggle with it years after they've stopped and become sober. Some are saying, well, it's been 3 years for me, I've been sober for 3 years, and it's still a challenge for me. Everybody's road is different. As to the actual question about if it's the problem worse in the gay community versus the straight community, well, that I couldn't really say because I'm not straight, so I wouldn't know.
Are you?
Yes,
are you confessing this live on TV?
I'm coming out. Yes, honey.
Congratulations, girls. Very happy.
That was brave. It was so brave.
So right.
But I know for the gay community, it is a big problem because let's face it, let's not sugarcoat it. We gays love to party. I'm not generalizing, but we know that there are a lot of gays that love to party and play and love drug use.
Well, and if I can jump on there with a little bit of statistics, actually the general population has basically admits about 9% admit to having abused drugs and alcohol, whereas in the LGBT community, it's more like 25 to 30%.
Wow.
And that's admit.
That's
Right.
And that's admit.
You're 3 times more likely, statistically, to be exposed to addiction of any nature if you're gay because of the difficulties, or in the LGBTQ spectrum.
Right. There's a lot of parallels.
I want to
between...
repeat the emphasis of the statistic you just gave us. You were basically saying in the gay community, we are 3 times more likely to have effect from chemical
literally what
enhancement.
I said. Exactly.
Yeah, to have abused drugs and alcohol in general.
All right.
No,
Yeah,
but you're married. If either of you are on Grindr, then I honestly don't know. I've got you blocked, but I'm on it all the time. Look me up. But you literally can't use the word party on it because of its inclination. It will block you from using that actual word. That is how rampant this is in our community.
Wow.
You can't use the word party.
Wow, I didn't know that.
At all.
I've been mystified because for the longest time, I had no clue what P&P meant. I'm sorry. It's over the last, 4 or 5 months that actually somebody explained it to me. I was in a situation, they were like, well, you want to, I'm like, I don't know what this is. And they started explaining
More
it.
letters in this LGBTQ nonsense.
Exactly. MOUSE.
Right.
I'm like, really? Come on, somebody.
Wait,
Give me
you
a break.
use TNP and MOUSE in the same sentence, Joe. No, you're feeding every Napoleon stereotype there is.
I do not. Excuse that statement.
Right,
Retract that.
all
We're already
right.
going to have that new next week.
But, but I will say that in my time in the gay community, that's the only time I've ever heard it. So I would have to tend to go really confirm, Aaron, that that's what it appears to me.
And you've spent the most time being straight, so you actually have experience on this panel.
Now,
my
question with that statistic and the conversation that your post caused in conversation, because I read spectacular comments about how it impeded their sexual ability, and that if they did not continue the chemical addiction, they did not feel like they had a rewarding and fulfilling sexual encounter. Why is the statistic so much higher in the gay community? What is it saying about us?
We can't experience, it goes back to the same Tumblr conversation. We can't experience our own sexuality. It's part of what makes it so difficult to come out in the first place in any manner, much less if you have extreme ideas. It's difficult to deal with your sexuality if you're a person. And if you're LGBTQ spectrum, it's a whole lot harder because you have to deal with non-heteronormatives that make it harder for us to be who we are.
Now, in seriousness,
wait,
one sec. In seriousness, I hear your observation, but my first reaction is that means we're using our sexuality as an excuse to use drugs.
No,
What do you
it's
think
part-
about that?
It's part of who we are as people. Sexuality is a lens through which you perceive the world. And if you're neutering that, you're neutering who you are. And therefore, you don't know who you are if you don't know what your sexuality is.
Okay, let me just say, I cannot
I
speak
don't
for everybody in the gay community. I can just tell you about my world and my experience and why the statistics are so high as far as I'm concerned. And actually, I don't care what statistics anybody read, that 25 or whatever percent is way low. That is way conservative, because I damn sure know it's a lot more than that. That's just people admitting. Now, I think the reason,
Which is even more shocking.
yeah, I think the reason that it is so high in our community is because gay men, we have a arrested development. We don't have the trappings of family. We don't have, a lot of us don't have, a wife and kids. We party way more than our straight counterparts. I'm not even talking about drugs. I'm just talking about clubs, going out, socially, circuit parties, bars. We are just more interactive and more fun. And that's why I said we have a bigger sense of arrested development, because we are still a lot younger than our straight counterparts. And you notice, it's when I say younger, in terms of our spirit, in terms of our celebration of life. And actually, to tell you the truth, if you notice, a lot of times if you put a gay man of a certain age beside a straight man of the same age, the gay man of the same age looks like 10 years younger than the straight man.
Exhibit A, Joe Brookman.
I cannot
Thank
tell
you very much.
how many straight women friends that I have made that exact observation. The reason why they like hanging out with gay men is that exact observation. They have more fun, and they feel like no matter what the age is, whether it's 60 or it's 30, they feel like they're just much more in the moment.
And with that comes a lower sense of inhibition. And with that lower sense of inhibition, we are just more
Fascinating
free and carefree and footloose. And that really leads us to, and once again, I'm speaking
That's the
from
gay
my
right.
world and my experience as a circuit performer and as a club entertainer. That just leads to, do what you want is the whole of the law.
Well, it reminds me, it's a perfect transition to what we're getting ready to play, I'd Swallow That.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I do want to close the conversation to say you should read Power's post on his Facebook page. The conversation is quite amazing, and the comments from
really
people are
eye-opening.
amazing. And if you feel like you have a problem, please, there are many resources to reach out to that can help you. We're going to play a game called I'd Swallow That. And it's the new original
I feel uncomfortable
gel
next
shot
to you.
game, as you can see. We're going to play this game, and it's a lot of fun. I'm going to ask some questions. Now, you can't touch your shot until it's time to agree or disagree. If you agree with my question, then you can pick up your shot and you can do it. And
There's a
this
lot
is
of rules in
fun.
this game.
These are the original gel shots. We just started this last week, and we had lots of fun with it, so we decided to continue.
They are so
It's
good.
really fun because this product doesn't have to be refrigerated. And all you have to do is squeeze it into your mouth, which means you don't have to use your tongue as much as you did last week.
But
But evidently, he's good at it.
and
Any excuse will do.
That's right. And you do not have to put the entire shot, including the plastic, in your mouth.
greedy.
So, everybody knows how we play our game, and we call it. That's right. It's called sucking it out.
and it's roofie proof.
Yeah, right?
Right,
Speaking of
exactly.
drugs.
There are very few things I can eat. It's an actual gluten issue. I appreciate that I can just go into these and not have to worry
Oh
about
yeah,
it at
and they're
all.
gluten-free. Okay, all right. So there's 6 flavors of these. We're going to do 6 questions.
want
You
that
may
one.
not get all 6 shots. It's only if you agree, so you can't touch it. Our first shot is cinnamon, Cinno shot. Our question is a Christmas theme. We said don't touch your shots, right? All right.
I don't win by taking it.
All right. Oh, there's jokes.
It's
All right.
very difficult.
Our first question. If Santa is making a list for Christmas, I am sure I am on the naughty list this year.
Oh.
Hell, I just want to
Speaking of
drink. I just want a
Tumblr.
shot.
Whoops.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm a Jew.
I just almost spit up my shot. Oh my gosh. All right. All right. All right. All right. Question number 2. This time it's
That was
peach
good.
bum. Peach bum. All right. Our question. Question 2. I'd swallow that.
Swallow the peach bum. Speaking of grinder things.
This has become our favorite segment too, America.
Yes.
I'm just telling you. I look at It's Happening Out's social media often to see what fans are saying about me.
Say that again.
I look at. Sorry. Sorry.
He just can't wait to get that next shot.
I look at It's Happenings Out social media, which also could be yours, often to see what fans are saying about you.
Don't lie. You're all lying.
You're on there all the time.
But not on It's Happening Out social media.
Oh,
to see what fans
there's
think
a
about me.
hair ding. Okay.
Split,
That is-
split the difference.
Your own page counts as it's happening out media.
Yes,
You know
that's
that.
exactly right. Because you talk a lot there.
Yeah, that's my own.
All right. All right, that's our.
You didn't shake it out?
Apparently, I'm terrible at social media, according to this.
He does check
You
it
are.
out for the, question of the day.
Says the youth.
One of our producers, Frank Garcia, told me the first night that I got hired that I should not look at our social media page to see what fans say about me. And I've always taken his word. And I've always taken that advice.
That was your first mistake. No.
I know I don't want to be embarrassed about what they say about me.
I love looking and being told I'm part of the Aryan Brotherhood. It's the biggest part of my week.
Yes, people think you're an Aryan socialist.
I repeat, I'm a Jew, and this will come back several times tonight.
Right. All right. Question number 3. We're going to do Banana Blast. Here's Banana Blast. No touchy. Question 3. It's a little scary how good Napoleon is at playing Donald Trump.
I'm scared of everything I can do.
I think we're gonna meet the president tonight. Did y'all hear that? Did you know?
It's going to be an amazing segment. I say some terrible things as a horrible human being. I get a lot of practice every single week. It's the first time with that one. You're gonna
That's good.
Wait, you.
Oops. Sorry.
I said what I said.
So speaking of social media and defending, I noticed you didn't take a shot, and we'll be back there, bitches.
Exactly, right. All right, question number 4. Now we're going to have candy melon. It's a melon flavor.
This one's my favorite.
All right. Another question, Christmas question. Wait, I've only had 3 shots and I'm already slurring a little.
They're stronger than you think.
A little under 3 weeks away. I haven't started Christmas shopping yet. Oops. You have?
It's fucking night 5 of Hanukkah. I repeat. How many times do I need to say this tonight?
No shots
Happy
for
Hanukkah.
you. Cheers. All right.
Like I said, I'm
This is
on the
rude.
naughty list.
Wonderful.
Having to take it all if you want to.
I
Girl,
should
say
have
some
done
of
the
the
say
rap.
no. Say yes so I can have the.
Girl,
I'm getting
say
a
some of the
flash
rapper,
message
Miss
on
Joe.
power that I don't
Hey,
understand. So
hey.
you have to
Joanna
clarify.
over there is.
Hey, these are awesome. I'm a big tailgate fan. And
I'm enjoying this. All right.
And they're
Question
good.
5. Now we're going to try blue raspberry flavor. And see, the great thing about this, and I've done this in clubs a zillion times.
It's color coded, so even Al can
They
understand
just.
it. Did you lose your train of thought? You're already forgetting what you're going to say. It's okay.
The same thing that we said in the opening package. Napoleon's a bitch. All right, question 5. Lady Gaga will win Best Actress in a Drama at the Golden Globes.
Probably she's white.
You're
I
white.
have to say I agree.
Firstly, how I identify myself is
also
a longer
Jewish.
conversation. Secondly,
Girl, it don't work the way that trans
Third.
does, okay?
I want right. Exactly
we
right.
had all conversations
Wait.
where look, Aaron didn't identify as white. There are reasons I don't. We can go over that later.
We had a conversation
And I wanna
about
talk.
how we culturally identify as a cast and
some of
what
us
we
are
represent. And Power argued with all of us that he was not white, that was a cultural
My name is
distinction.
Napoleon.
Who, me?
No, him.
My
He
He's
said-
a Power.
You're
All
done.
right.
You don't
Oh,
need
I'm
more.
sorry.
Why
I
are you
said
always
Napoleon.
confusing Napoleon and Power? I
Well,
don't
well,
understand.
it's because
So
they
how
look
you
so much
confuse-
alike.
Right,
So
clearly
according
they're
to
so
my
similar.
DNA
Because he's not white.
According to my DNA,
I'm just a
I'm
Swedish
93% Dutch, and I'm 7% Sub-Saharan African. So I'm black.
Oh my God.
I wouldn't brag too much about that because that means somebody did something really horrible way back in your bloodline.
Oh,
so
that
my
means I can
gosh.
be.
Just
I can
saying.
be
I
related
I
to
was
Thomas
going to make
Jefferson.
it. I was
means
going
I
to
can
make.
You
qualify
should have
as
said
an
that.
8A.
You should have said that after I got the shot down my throat. Kid.
I was going to make the joke about 7% of black being in.
So, but
Black by
No,
injection
that would be
doesn't count.
inappropriate. That would be inappropriate. All right,
been there.
Question
Too
6.
late.
Excuse
Too
me.
Too late.
Did you hear that? All right, question 6. Last one
We'll let that go.
of our original gel shot. I'd swallow that. This one is called Frosty Mug. It's a root beer. I've never done this one. A root beer
I
shot.
intentionally did it. It's actually
All right.
the best
I
one.
All right.
love root beer.
Question 6.
So the answer is yes.
Okay, and probably you're going to say yes. There are a lot of sick people
Oh my
in
God,
South
yeah.
Florida. All of us have been sick. Power infected all of us, by the
Yeah,
way.
right.
Sick
Oh, like physically sick.
I was
Physically
wondering
sick.
too.
And I'm
He
fine
punched
now.
himself, So I,
Yeah.
did not, I thought
All
I
right.
felt like immediately.
All right. There are a lot of us sick, a lot of sick people around.
Who sit next to you?
We have gotten a lot better since last week taking these original gel shots. We've gotten
Amen.
better taking these shots. Get it?
That's
Play on
right.
words?
It's
I'm not
practice.
sure
It's
how
baby.
because
the
I wanted to
two
do try to
Practice,
drink root
practice
beer.
makes perfect. Right?
Factually, and we have a former EMT just right back there. It is actually helpful for your body to be able to relax, for it to heal.
Hey, it's like
properly.
anything you
It's why
swallow. Once you
sleep
get
is
the
good.
hang of it, it's like riding a bike.
Honey, it's
one's
relaxing
drippy.
your throat, so it
All
just
right.
goes straight
Ooh.
down.
It needs to be like
Yeah, it's
massaged
drippy.
on the
Could you pass
throat,
me
like a
a
dog swallowing a pill.
It's drippy.
Just do that.
Yeah.
Just
Do you
cut it
like the
down.
root beer?
Yeah,
root
it's
beer's
cute.
I'm doing
good.
the wrong flavor.
What am I gonna say? No, and fuck with our sponsors. It's delicious.
We're having fun with original gel shots, and we hope you like. I'd swallow that. That's our game. So thanks for playing.
The coolest thing about these is that they just last through anything.
Well,
Yeah.
the fact that
That's
you
fine.
can't, the fact
Well-
that you can't speak to them, honestly, that's really cool.
spit up
Like,
on
that
my
was a
cup.
major
Here,
concern
take that off
for
my
me
cup.
back when I was young.
My favorite thing about original gel shots is it helps me be able to sit next to Napoleon through this shit much longer.
Really?
So we love our gel shots. Enjoy it.
My banana
It's
was
become my
stolen.
favorite thing, and as I said,
It's
it helps
become
me.
his favorite thing, clearly.
It helps me
I'm
get
collecting
through.
the extras.
Let's move on. We have a guest tonight, Ari Gold. However, we taped it this morning. We're not finished in editing. We had so much more come out of it that we need a bit more time to get ready for it. So
Because
we're going
apparently you
to
have problems swallowing. So.
we're going to have Ari in the show next week in what we did. I mentioned this all to you. Ari and I did this interview this morning, and he did it while he was in bed, and it was quite fun.
It was your
and-
first time seeing a Jew in bed.
And
of course, you're pushing this
he
off of
is
Hanukkah
Jewish.
one more time.
Yes.
Happy Hanukkah, Ari. Once again, Christmas is more important even
Right.
during our holiday.
It's night 5, you said?
yes, it is
Yeah.
night 5.
Okay. And we talked about all kinds of things. Ari is battling cancer. And we talked about that. We talked about him having RuPaul on speed dial. He bitch slapped me with RuPaul. Can you believe that? And that was funny. And his new music that he is doing between now and Stonewall. He lives in New York now, and he was in bed. And it was a great experience. And next week you're going to see this excellent interview.
And if you didn't
that
hear
we
from
have.
Al, he was in bed.
He was in bed,
So
yes.
apparently that's, again...
Did I
that's
tell you
what-
all? Ari Gold was in bed.
Clearly,
Was
we're very excited about
Yes,
this.
Was
that
he
was
clothed?
very. No, I saw his underwear.
That is...
And that is why we're still editing the package.
Yes, we're editing the
Still
package.
editing
Too much nudity,
Exactly,
we gotta,
right. All right, so you're going to see that next week. And, well, I'll tell you about something else we're doing next week a little bit later in the show. Next, we're going to play another game. And the game is called Tell Me Something I Didn't Know. And it's been fun because we've all learned many things. Who would like to start? Tell me something I didn't know.
I'm going to start because it is Hanukkah, and these Gentiles seem to think that everything else is more important. So firstly, there's several facts.
There's a lot of Jewish stuff tonight.
Yeah, it's Hanukkah. It's not. You had 3 Christmas questions
Did you know
on
Grandma
Hanukkah.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer?
Did you know that Jesus wasn't born on this day? And blah, blah, blah. We can talk about Trump later. But, okay, so 17.5 million donuts are eaten in Israel during the holiday season of Hanukkah. In ancient Greece, it was outlawed to study the Torah, and thus people used the dreidel, and that's how it became a game. And I'm still going to have one more. And in 1979, Carter, you're welcome, was the first the first president to choose to celebrate Hanukkah in the White House, and it is still done to this day, theoretically, because who knows what the hell Trump does in this.
So your answer was tell me something I didn't know
It was
about
Hanukkah. It was
Got
about
it.
Hanukkah.
Okay. Somebody else. Tell me
It's a
something
Jewish
I didn't
holiday,
know.
by the way. Hanukkah.
Well, I found out this week that apparently Grindr has become more inclusive of trans people, which is refreshing because when I was on it a while back, when I was single, of course,
Last week.
I thought I had you blocked. I thought I had all Republicans blocked. That should be a
That would be such a good setting.
But really, though, they've got a FAQ, if you will, about trans folks and basically how to ask to hook up with a trans guy without sounding like a dickhole, which is nice.
So how do you?
We'll talk about that after the show.
Yeah, after the show.
But really, it's really cool. They've got different gender identity options you can put on your profile, and then you can kind of ask the 101 questions on their FAQ page instead of having to ask me in my inbox when I'm just trying to get some dick.
And real quickly, I'm curious. The fact that Grindr embraces the trans community now in this, when you first learned that, how did it make you feel?
I was super excited. I actually, my partner was on it, and yes, I know about it, and I was sitting right next to him. But he pulled it up. He's like, "Hey, check this out. You can select trans now." I'm like, "Kick ass, awesome! This makes it a lot easier to look for threesomes." And when I clicked it, I was like, "Oh my god, they've got a whole section, and it's actually like good questions. It's good information. It's not just like the boring, obvious stuff."
You know, we make a joke, but I have to point out to you, I just have to get kind of semi-serious on this observation. To turn to Grindr, which is arguably the biggest gay platform in the world.
Except for ours.
I would imagine, in like your experience, turning to Grindr and finding out that black people are on it, or whatever type of segments of our people on it, is a similar kind of experience that you had, which is, I am rejected, and now I'm embraced by the biggest gay platform in the world.
Yeah.
That must be a wonderful moment.
It was a really big deal. And
Yeah.
I'm not even on it that often, but it still
That's not
resonated
the
with
point.
big
The
time.
fact that they would embrace. I think that's
also,
wonderful.
there's an issue of
Wait
fat
until they
femination on
embrace
Grindr,
Republicans.
so...
Yes. Well, there's not ever going to be a Republican tab on
wait.
Grindr.
You keep talking about things that aren't Aaron, and I want to actually ask you about the trans question on it, because it is literally listed as a tribe, meaning that you can be
Right.
leather, you can be geek, you can be clean cut. I don't know what that means. You can be daddy, you can be whatever,
Right,
or you can
right.
follow that crowd. What does it mean to you for that to be a tribe on it?
It is a little bit problematic because we're still kind of tokenized, or we're still kind of seen as a
But
an other.
isn't it a step
but
forward?
It definitely
Yeah,
is. It
that's
shows
the
a lot
answer
that
to
the
that.
gay community in general, gay men in general, are embracing trans men.
Yes,
and
you've
realizing
got to
that
applaud
and
that.
realizing that a lot
You
of us
have
are
to
gay.
applaud that.
We're not all straight. We're not glorified studs. You know, a lot of us are gay. I used to get a lot of questions about, well, why are you on this app then? And it's like, a lot of us we can be just like any other kind of human.
so
we can be any sexuality.
And
Like
we
I said,
talk,
it can be just as horrible.
in all seriousness, for me, I talk about gay culture and gay community all the time. Everybody knows that it's the principal reason I'm doing this show. That is a step in the right direction for gay culture and gay community. I think that's
And
a
don't knock it till
fantastic
you
thing.
try it, honey. Just saying. I downloaded Grindr
all right.
this week after I found out.
Okay. Other things
Oh, we
I
have a
don't.
lot to catch up on.
Something I didn't know.
I had planned one thing, and then the question was posed to me. People have been asking, since I don't look at my feed, what's the unicorn all about? Why is this pink unicorn on the table every week?
You're welcome.
So, what about the unicorn? A unicorn is a rare mythical creature, just like a gay Republican. And they said, well, what's the name of the unicorn? The name of the unicorn is Princess Penelope.
Princess Penelope. I have to share something about Joe. Joe came to one of the shows at Drink here in Wilton Manors, and I had the opportunity to meet him. And I took an instant like to you, and we started talking. And when he told me about his history, I said that first evening, "You're like a gay unicorn." Didn't I say that?
Yes, you did.
I did. It's absolutely true. This is absolutely true. And
You're trying to take everything that's his and
no,
make it yours.
no. He is him, believe me. But I embraced it immediately because I thought one of the things that I think is so wonderful about our diversity and celebrating our diversity is if we're going to talk about diversity, we have to have diversity, which is what you represent. And that's why the unicorn is so important.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is
And that's the
Something
white guy
else.
at the table.
That's
Yeah.
very, very sweet.
And all hail the Aryan Brotherhood.
Right,
That's,
exactly.
that's very sweet, and Joe, you're very sweet. So I dedicate this one to Joe.
Oh, God.
Back up.
We're ready for
In 1 week, Michelle Obama's book,
Okay.
Becoming Michelle Obama, sold 1.4 million copies.
Oh, I know where
Yes.
you're going on this one.
In 32 years, Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, only sold 1.1. And this week, Michelle Obama's book has topped 2 million copies sold.
Wah, wah.
And I just think that first of all, congratulations, Michelle. I know that
everyone who bought the book.
I know
Good for
that every night that we close, Napoleon gives a shout out to Ellen and wants to be on Ellen's show. But Michelle, I'm always available to go with you on your book tour. Just know that. So I'm very, very proud of her.
All right.
And she actually wrote her book.
Whenever they go low, you go high.
Not me.
Oh, wait. Right. All right. I rarely do this, but I want to tell you something y'all don't know. Did you know, for an Uber driver, what the number one time for an Uber driver is in terms of profitability of what people fight for to be on duty at Uber?
After sex.
12 midnight to 4 a.m. Do you know why?
Because that's when people
it's
live in the
right.
bars.
They make the most money because of the bar trade, but not because of the traffic of moving and driving the Uber, but because of what is called the vomit fee.
Oh, yeah.
Uber has a policy that charges the rider $200 if you vomit in the car for Uber.
goodness.
And
They're
as a
aiming for that
result, Uber drivers want to move you from midnight to 4 a.m. so you will vomit in their car because they make more money on the vomit than the entire
So they
evening
have,
of
like,
all of
terrible
the rides
smells in
that
their
they
car.
make.
I was
try
an
to
Uber
induce
driver
it.
for like all of 3 weeks for that exact reason.
And I read this article. There's one driver that specializes in it, and on average, on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, he has 6 to 9 people vomit in his car in a weekend.
So wait, did you just have to read
Gross.
statistics?
In a
It only
Something
took-
you didn't know.
it took
I
one
had
for me to
also
quit.
something
Oh
you
my
guys
goodness.
already knew. Al had to read an article to find out about the working class of America.
Oh my God.
Exactly. We work with
How
our
much
hands.
does bread cost again?
Really?
To all of you. All right, let's move on. Thank you for something I didn't know. Let's talk about the big news of this week, and it's been quite moving. It's about President Bush, 41, and his funeral. Before we begin, let us show you this video that we're getting ready to show you. Watch this.
America is never wholly herself unless she is engaged in high moral principle. We as a people have such a purpose today. It is to make kinder the face of the nation and gentler the face of the world.
It's part of what we were talking about. President George H.W. Bush at his own inauguration in '89. This week, Bush is being remembered as the last of his kind, and a stark difference to the leadership style of our current president. While Bush 41 encouraged that kinder, gentler nation, President Trump came into office with his talk of American carnage at his inauguration, having already declared the American dream, in his words, is dead. And as the Washington Post headline points out, quote, honorable, gracious, and decent, in death, Bush becomes a yardstick for President Trump.
Well, as you can see, it's been quite a week. President Bush, number 41, in his passing, has really brought the entire country to a stop. It's been a relatively slow news week because of it, and he was laid to rest today. You had a very big moment at the funeral at the National Cathedral yesterday when you saw all of the presidents, all the living presidents and the first ladies, all lined up in the single row. A lot of controversy about it. But what we wanted to talk about for a couple of minutes related to President Bush, 41. With his passing, he is the last president that is a World War II president, the last of what is called the Great Generation. We wanted to take a moment to discuss his relationship to his legacy and what it means to the gay community. What do y'all think?
Well, my first comment is not necessarily about the gay community because we lost President Bush, but I was in the midst when he passed away of burying my aunt of 90 years. And so it was kind of a double whammy. But in the midst of burying her and walking through family, and the comments of family, it was also because they're of the same generation, okay, working through comments of legacy. And a song came to mind, and I will apologize, but it's a song that talks about legacy, and it very much relates to President Bush. And it was originally sung by Keith Green. It's called Find Us Faithful. And I think that's been the theme of President Bush and his legacy. It talks about, it says, the words are, surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us run the race not only for the prize, but as those who've gone before us, let us leave to those behind us the heritage of faithfulness passed on through godly lives. Oh, may all who come behind us find us faithful. May the fire of our devotion light their way. May the footprints that we leave lead them to believe, and the lives we live inspire them to obey. And I think that's what his life was. And that's because he's left those footprints. He's left that legacy to inspire people. And I think this week was a lot of inspiration from many of the things that were said.
And enough to compare him to family that passed. That's how much you feel strongly about it.
Yes. And in fact, that song I sang 25 years ago at my mother's funeral. Because when she passed away, there were close to 700 people that filed through. She was a teacher for 30 years in a small town of only 2,000, okay? We had 700 people come through.
I read this morning that in the Capitol, the night before the National Cathedral, from midnight to 5 a.m. alone, more than 12,000 people paid their respects in the Capitol to him. That's amazing in terms of at that time, so many people would wait in the cold to be able to pass.
Yeah.
I heard it was the most
12,000
ever.
Well, that's all.
Visual proof.
That's all very sweet. 100,000 people died while George W. Bush
Look how she started.
did nothing and said nothing about the AIDS crisis. Just saying. I find it kind of ironic that he died a day before World AIDS Day. I'm sorry. I'm not one of these people who thinks that we should speak so kindly and lovely just because somebody died.
No.
And, you know, granted, he wasn't as bad as Reagan. Once he took office, he claimed to be kinder and gentler, but it was more of a kinder and gentler indifference. He largely did almost nothing to address the AIDS crisis, to address the gay community. He had one nice speech, like, okay. But other than that, and he did sign in the Americans with Disabilities Act. He did sign in the Ryan White Care Act. However, I will say, and I would love to say, thank you to ACT UP and all of the activists of that time who fought to make sure that happened.
So just to follow up for that, because I think Bush 43 followed up from where his father left off, and errantly so. He invested the largest amount of federal dollars in fighting the AIDS crisis in the U.S. and abroad of any president in history.
Yeah, and
You're talking about Junior?
while I think that is true,
yes,
and I'm glad
yes.
of that,
Yes.
Aaron's specific point was the Reagan years and
I-
moving into Bush.
and
41.
I understand that, but I mean, yes, it should have been done earlier, but there's a lot about familiarity and understanding that was lacking at the time. It really was.
I mean, he
Is it an
understood enough
excuse? No.
to give a speech about it, but he didn't understand it enough to actually put forth any action to it. You know, I don't remember who it was that said it, but basically the quote that I read was, "Talk is cheap, AIDS funding is not."
Yeah.
And so the lip service was all great, but it did nothing to. 100,000 people died. 150,000 more people were infected over the course of 10 years, and they
Not to mention the
largely said
stigma
nothing.
that caused for
Right,
decades.
and that ripple
to come.
effect is still occurring today.
Other thoughts?
I would. Okay. Well, I would like to look at it from his funeral and his passing from another angle. First of all, child, have they finally put this man in the ground yet? Because, girl, this funeral started in 1972. I'm telling you, this is the longest funeral I have ever seen. And every time, and I will say this, to Aaron's point and to Joe's point, I actually did my research and looked up, and I was going to come and list some of the things he did and some of the things he didn't do for the gay community. But after looking at his funeral, let me just speak off the cuff without my comment card and just say that the man, there's a lot of things that he failed on, without a doubt. And one thing I didn't know, and I found out this week in actually researching him, was all this time you've been sitting here, log cabin Republican, I really didn't know what a log cabin Republican was, other than that you are a Republican. I didn't really realize that they were like...
Lincoln.
Huh?
The reference to Abraham Lincoln.
Well, they are the gay, specifically gay Republicans.
Yes.
Okay. And it's interesting that the log cabin Republicans actually did not endorse him for his, I believe it was his second run. Mm-hmm. They didn't endorse him.
And he was one of the first that they didn't endorse, I believe.
That was very interesting.
Because of his position on marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I will say this. There are certain people that you can say you disagree with on policy, but when you look at the sum of their life, personally, you can still have respect for them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know where to fall when it came to President Bush, and I had even told a friend of mine, Catherine Nevitz, that I'm not going to post anything on my page, period, because I don't know which way to feel about, and if I don't really have something glowing to say about somebody that's passed, I'm not going to be disrespectful. Save one president if he dies. Oh yeah, I have a lot to say. But
people die.
But I think that I certainly respect him because he lived a life of service, and the fact that he didn't he was against gay marriage and the mistakes that he made, I have to say, and when people always say, oh, Obama was against gay marriage and Hillary was against gay marriage, oh, so what? And he was against gay marriage too. But you know what? People evolve. And I was against gay marriage too, and I'm the gayest bitch up in here. You know? So people evolve, and back then it was a different time. Now, I'm not talking about what he should have done, what he should have known as regards to the AIDS crisis, the AIDS battle, all that stuff. I will never agree with his positions when it comes to that and never respect his decisions. But I can come to a point where somebody, just like John McCain, that I don't agree with their policies and we will always differ, but the man in totality was a good man, I have to respect that.
To you that, and one of our followers on Facebook made the note just a couple of moments ago that he was from a kinder time, and I think that that's a beautiful phrase. I agree with you, because one of the things that I've thought about this week is, first off, on gay marriage, many people do not know that in his time in Kennebunkport, he met the two lesbian couples that ran the country store in Kennebunkport, and he became friends with them. And when he found out that they were actually going to get married after the Supreme Court had the ruling, he joked with them repeatedly about whether he was going to get an invitation to the wedding. And they gave him an invitation, and he ultimately signed the documentation paper and ultimately said he reversed himself on gay marriage and said it's a happiness issue, and therefore that justified being married. The one thing that I come away from this week over everything, I completely agree with your observation. Agree or disagree, we should have respect for the presidency of the office of president. And I think what we're going through, it has made it extremely difficult to do that. I have really honestly welcomed the week because it gave me a fresh perspective of saying we should respect the office. And we have a little...
Consider me disrespectful then.
Okay, and I understand. We have a bump in the road going on right now. I know Joe respectfully disagrees with me. But we will return to respect for the president. And perhaps this president even will make some changes that will bring respect. Regardless, I'm going to move on here. But regardless of that, the week is marked by the respect of George Bush's longevity of service. And I think we can all agree that that was really great.
Again, not letting the youth speak.
All right, we're going to play... we're going to play another game called This or That. The game that we play is asking a question, and you've got to choose this or that. And again, our cast, our hosts, have not seen these questions, and they will stop reading my page. So I just give everybody at home that clue in. Yeah, no shots in this game. This or that. Question number 1. 'Tis the season. Oh, another Christmas question.
That's not Christmas.
You didn't include a single Hanukkah
This is not Christmas season. This is holiday season. Christmas is an amalgamation of other stolen holidays.
There's no Hanukkah questions again in this one. All right, question number 1. 'Tis the season. This, A Grinch Stole Christmas, or that, A Christmas Carol?
Oh, man.
A Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol?
Yeah, Christmas Carol, Fragile. I mean, there's so many classic moments from that
Christmas
movie.
Carol?
The Grinch.
The Grinch, because you're Jewish. Got it. All right.
It's because I sit next to you every single week.
Question 2. We all like balls, right?
Yeah. Jingle.
I'm talking about candy.
You got to catch them all.
This, M&M's, or that, Skittles?
Does that have to do with
M&M's
balls?
balls. Oh, like the I literally. Oh my
M&M's.
god.
This, M&M's.
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 Skittles, gotta taste the rainbow.
Got to taste the rainbow.
I'm on Team Skittles.
Team Skittles. All right,
Okay.
so
M&M's
sugary
'cause there's-
candy
'cause there's
versus
black ones in
chocolate. Of course, it's black.
The rapper
All right.
for the third
Question
time.
number 3. When I am upset, I find it better to
Hit L.
this, cry and just let it all out, or that, laugh and forget my worries.
None.
Pick this or that. We play the game.
I laugh to keep from crying, but I always inevitably end up throwing a giant fit.
So you cried.
Crying,
This,
yeah.
okay?
Biologically, crying is not only a stress reliever, but it also is a sign of strength. So I will always stand by that, as
Cry.
you see on air.
Okay.
Tears.
Cry.
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 One of the most powerful parts, of the Bush funeral was seeing Bush 43
That was beautiful.
cry.
It was.
Okay,
It
that
was
it's
beautiful.
okay to cry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, my tear ducts don't work, so I have to go with laugh.
You had them surgically removed, did you? All right. Question number 4. Awards.
Yes, please.
This, the Golden Globes, or that, the Oscars?
The Oscars.
Same, the Oscars.
EGOT doesn't stand for Golden Globe.
Oscar.
Really? Unanimous Oscars. Okay. All right. That rarely happens at this happening out. Question 5.
Solid gold fan.
We're going to play that back later. I think it's going to make our edit sound bites. All right. Random question 5. Random music clash.
Oh, no.
This, Seasons of Love from Rent, or that, Baltimore from Hairspray?
Seasons of Love.
Oh, that's tough. We'll come back to that.
That's tough.
Thank you. Good.
I know where you're coming
me.
from.
Congratulations, Chris. Who wrote this question?
Baltimore.
Baltimore? Where are you from?
I'm from Baltimore, and I'm a John Waters fan, and I want you to cast me so badly. But that said, that's not your best song from that show. It's "Mama, I'm a Big Girl Now."
Therefore,
it's Rent, and I cannot wait to see you in it. The entire cast this coming up.
So I'm gonna have to come down and say,
gosh, that's hard.
Seasons of Love,
especially the mix that I play when I spin.
Ooh!
Oh my gosh, I really want to.
Another shameless plug. Another one. All right, question 6. When it gets cold, I like to go outside and enjoy the season, or stay inside and bundle up.
Or C, move to Florida, as we all do.
This or that. America, do you see how tough my job is here at this show? I'm working so hard for you. This or that.
Easy for me. Stay inside and bundle up.
No. Many of the questions, when they were being written, I'm going, Power won't do that. He won't do that. He won't do that. All right, this or that.
No more gel shots for you next week. You get none.
Inside and cuddle.
Cuddle, all right.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say inside.
I absolutely will go out and play in the snow, and I will eat it, and I will love it.
There's no snow here.
You and I are the same.
On Sunday.
I will go play in the water. I will go play in the snow. I don't care what it is. I just want to play outside.
Is that why you live in Florida?
It is why I live in Florida.
It was cold this morning in Florida, and I find that racist and homophobic. So I'm not here for it.
You're not understanding the word racist.
Don't even get us started on this one. We've only got like 94 more minutes. No, I'm kidding. Question 8. How we gaycation. This, we go to all-inclusive resorts, or that, we go on cruises.
Is that gay cruises, or just...
How we. Are you gay or not gay? Cruises?
I mean, that's a whole other question.
I get seasick, so I'm going to say resorts, I guess.
Resorts, all right. Power thought he got seasick too, and we went to Cuba 2 months ago, and he didn't get seasick.
I have heard cruise ships are different, so
yes,
you're going to have to take me to Cuba so that I can find out for sure.
He'll say he'll take you, and he'll leave an offer, and then he'll renege that statement. So be careful, because he said it on camera.
Your tone seems very pointed.
I also owed a RuPaul doll at some point in the future that if he has remembered
that point. You offered the RuPaul doll, not me.
We have footage of it on air.
No,
check it out
find it. All right,
Jared, we're ready?
We're this or that. Go all-inclusive or that. Go on a cruise.
I'm going to cruise again.
Yeah. And you said cruise.
I said cruise.
And you
cruise.
Okay.
That's what I do every day.
Question 9. When going to an awesome pool party, dive right into the water with the hot guys, or that, chat up the hot guys on the deck.
We all just went off into fantasy world.
Yeah.
I
was going to say, are the shots kicking in, or are you thinking about men?
I'm thinking about this Sunday.
Which is it?
I saw those golden dudes.
Right? Which is it?
What about letting the hot guys chat me up?
Or that?
I mean,
this or that?
Good for laying in the sun and being seen a little bit before we get into the water.
We're not going to play this game anymore.
Into the water.
The pool deck one.
Into the water. Into the water, on the deck.
Yeah. Being chatted up on the deck.
On the deck.
I already said I jump in the water. You guys can check me out in a mermaid suit in the coming up.
Yeah, he's going to be a mermaid.
It's a whole new world.
Okay. Question. Did you just become Ariel right before my very eyes?
Bitch, I've been Ariel for 10 weeks and you've not noticed.
Wait, here's a little secret. Napoleon and I work desk by desk.
I'm so sorry that you had to learn that here. You see why I always look angry.
Question 10.
So we're going to have a new...
Gay men prefer blondes. Y'all, come back.
Sorry.
Come back to me. Gay men prefer blondes. This... Captain America, Chris Evans, or that, Thor, Chris Hemsworth.
Fuck this. Fuck you. No, we're done. No. Fuck you.
Thor.
The blonde of the table is very militant.
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yes.
What did you
say?
Yes. Thor?
Thor.
I don't know the actors, but I'm going to say Thor for character reasons.
Do you like muscles?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
That's Thor. Although, Chris Evans.
I want to see his hammer.
See, what's going on right now is Napoleon is pissed off that he wasn't one of the choices. That's what's happening.
Okay, I'm going to be cast as an X-Men in the future, so I'm fine with that.
This or that, sir?
There's no answer here. You're wrong.
Wait,
bitch! I'm with Chris Evans, Chris Hines, and with Chris Hemsworth.
You get
all at once. There's no this. There's this. You can get with that, and you can get with that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. So you're in a group orgy with all three of them.
It's all of them. Fuck you.
I surrender.
That's the first. He's the first to get away with
that. Just as they will.
All right. We will no longer be playing this or that after tonight's episode. I'm just saying. All right. Let's move on. Something very interesting happened this week. A person in India, a lawyer that is trans, competed in a major international bodybuilding competition, and won second place in the men's competition as a trans bodybuilding athlete. And it got us wondering, in trans competing in sports, what are the rules going forward in how trans are going to be integrated in sports?
And we're
what do y'all think?
Stereotypical and probably go with you first.
Right, the ching token. Well, I can tell you how I think it should be, and that is, it really should go by physical characteristics. There should be, measurements as to weight and, muscle mass, whatever the case is. I don't do sportsing, so I don't know how all that works.
Sportsing?
But I mean, I don't do sportsing, no.
Sportsing, is that
That's a new word.
Webster's dictionary?
It sure is.
Okay,
It is.
all right.
Aaron Muniz's Webster dictionary.
Right.
Unless you're using your penis or your vagina to play the sport, then I don't understand
Wait,
how
what
that
sport
weighs
is that?
into exactly.
Let's get that sport on the table.
I'm saying if that's the case, then we can talk. But that's a whole different conversation and a whole different measurement of scoring. Just saying, if you're not using your dick to play, then I don't see how whether or not you have one should have anything to do with where you.
Let's focus in. Like in high school sports, should biological males born as male that have transitioned to female, should they be allowed to compete in high school female sports?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that doesn't create an unfair advantage.
No, I think it's because usually sports come down to weight class, and you are put into, like, wrestling is a perfect example. You're put into different divisions based on basically your physical.
Now
prowess.
I'm asking a question in all seriousness. Now, stay with me in the seriousness of it. In all seriousness, my impression would be, and I ask this question out of ignorance, if a biological male that transitioned to a female weighed 160 pounds, and they were competing now in a women's athletic event, volleyball or wrestling even, or whatever it might be, softball, and they are competing against somebody that is 160 pounds, the biological male transition to female would have an advantage just simply because the muscle mass was greater. Is that not true?
Not necessarily. It depends on the hormone treatment they've taken.
They're taking
It depends on
estrogen at that point, aren't
it
they?
Depends. It depends on the person.
Depending on where they are in their transition.
Right. Especially when it comes to high school students and kids who are trans. A lot of children, or a lot of teens, I should say, preteens, at this point in the game where parents are aware of treatment for them, are on things like puberty blockers. So they're not, the boys, quote unquote, aka trans girls, are not developing that muscle mass. So they're not necessarily in any kind of, which is why I say it should come down to those physical characteristics. And I mean,
Do you by chance know what organizations like the AAU or the NCAA, are they writing and creating rules to deal with these situations?
I imagine they are, because it's been a huge controversy over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure. Because I don't follow.
Other people, what do you think about it?
That was my question, because I can't really, I don't really feel I can really weigh in on this unless I have more knowledge. And I don't know, and one of my questions has been, if a trans girl is transitioning, if she loses her male strength. I've always been interested to know that. I have asked a couple, some of my friends that are trans, and they've explained to me that, apparently they do. So if they are at an equal advantage as far as their physical prowess and their physical abilities, I see no reason why it should matter one way or another.
Exactly.
Now, if you are, like I posted the other day, if you are the brownie man and you wake up one day and feel cunt and say, I'm trans, but you look like Mike Tyson, you haven't done anything to transition, and then you want to go wrestle a girl, I'm not going to you know,
You're not
that
gonna
to me,
support
that,
that.
no,
Yeah.
Well,
that
and
doesn't
that's,
make
and that's
sense.
the same argument, really. It comes down to your physical prowess and your physical strength. And
Well,
what those
What you
And
were
I-
asking was actually hormonally based, and that's where my interest is.
Well, and
most
hormones are a
peaked.
really fascinating subject. If you ever look into how many different things hormones affect, and changing from one hormone to another as far as what you're dominant in, it has so many profound effects on you,
Everything.
your mind,
Yeah.
and your body.
Your glands.
I mean, I did zero working out when I started my transition, zero. And yet I suddenly had muscle in places that I never knew you could have muscle.
Well, that's a surgical enhancer. Oh no.
Oh, I have a question. I have a question.
No, honey. No, honey.
I
That
know,
enhances
I
both
know.
lungs
I
or
have a
surgery.
question for
I'm
you.
only kidding.
So, as a female to male, have you noticed physical changes as far as strength? Do you think you've gotten stronger?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
clearly I'm no bodybuilder.
Okay, Al still thinks he
Clearly,
is,
whether
so
I
you're
had
good to
been, assigned male at birth or not, I would not be a bodybuilder. But yeah, I mean, just for example, when I started hormones, I was walking to work every day. No big deal. It was not very far, maybe 10 minutes. But when I started hormones, all of a sudden, that short 10-minute walk, I was getting calf muscles like nobody's business, girl.
Wow.
And now, years later, after I've not been walking to work anymore, I still have them. And there's a difference in the way that your body distributes weight. There's a difference in the way that you carry weight and that you carry muscle. It's really, like I said, it's really fascinating in how your body responds.
Where do you then draw the line? Because even just on a person-to-person, on a cis-male to cis-male idea, there's still differences in hormones. Are you supposed to measure that for what we go through in terms of sports?
I don't know necessarily
Like-
hormones. I don't know necessarily that far as testing and whatnot.
Isn't that part of the conversation that because you're on certain hormones, because you're on testosterone, that if you're female to male, that you have a greater benefit?
It's become part of the conversation, yeah. But I mean, having taken testosterone, for several years, I'm not going to be nearly in the level of physical strength or muscle mass or what have you as a lot of women I know, cisgender women I know. I'm not going to even measure up to them, let alone the typical cis male athlete. So it's still hormones. I think is getting a little too deep into the medical part, but it's a matter of how have those hormones affected your physical prowess.
I wanted to take a moment to talk about this from a history perspective.
Sure.
I'm a big tennis fan. And so in the early 70s, there was somebody by the name of Renee Richards. And it was a male to female.
Right.
And there was huge controversy. Huge backlash because she was now playing in the women's league. And she had an advantage just from a strength perspective.
Was seen as having had an advantage.
She had an advantage.
She had an advantage.
Well, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No. But it shows that
If
there
there's
are
a-
distinct advantages.
Sure. That being said, if there's a cisgender woman who has worked out her whole life, or who happens to naturally have low estrogen or high testosterone levels, what have you, and she's built like a brick shithouse, is she then not allowed to compete in the women's division because
Well,
who cares what she's
wait,
able
wait,
to
wait.
put
guys
on?
have
Wait,
naturally
wait.
more high testosterone,
Wait,
or at least
I'm going to
usually.
push this along.
So-
That is really the crux. Your sentence is the crux of our conversation. What are the rules going to be going forward? And this was prompted this week in this Indian lawyer getting second place in this very
And
prestigious.
it comes up every couple of years or so when some athlete who happens to be trans does something exceptional.
like the MMA fighter
I had
who
a
broke
feeling
the
you'd brought
girl's
that up.
skull.
but-
By the way, that's the best picture y'all could find of this film.
and
He looked better on social media.
He did.
That's
And
not
I,
really
and
nice.
I have to
Don't we all,
say, and I made this remark actually earlier in the week, because when I saw the picture of him, it was like, he was stunning.
Yeah,
And,
like I wanted to do him now, though. To no time.
Okay, all right. Trans
Shocker,
competing in
trans
sports
people can be hot.
is
I
a
promise
big
you're both
issue.
still desperate,
I
they
want to
will.
move on. We have a new segment that we started last week called the March to Stonewall. As everybody knows, June 30th, 2019, we will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots in New York. It will be marked in New York, and it will be the celebration of New York Pride and World Pride and the celebration of Stonewall all rolled into one. Each week we are going to celebrate our March to Stonewall and different things that have happened. This week we celebrate the Marlin Beach Resort and the protest that took place right here in Fort Lauderdale from 1974 to 1976. All right. Marlin Beach was a big event here in Fort Lauderdale and really helped kick off the gay rights movement. The mayor of Fort Lauderdale specifically said that basically we weren't going to have gays in Fort Lauderdale. And if he had his way, he was going to turn the Marlin Beach resort, which was the first and largest oceanfront gay resort in the world, he was going to turn it straight.
And cue Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want.
Yeah, and we make the, exactly.
Sorry, not sorry, but we gay as fuck.
We make the joke of what that mayor did, and you fast forward to 2018, and now the mayor of Fort Lauderdale is gay. The entire city council of Wilton Manors is gay. The Pride Parade for Fort Lauderdale Pride is going to march down A1A, the very famous beach road here in Fort Lauderdale, in front of the Marlin Beach site. So it's been a dramatic event in the change.
And again, thank you to the activists who stirred the pot back then.
Yes.
I think it's interesting. It's interesting. It's Fort Lauderdale, and at that time there was the Coral Springs Presbyterian Church was the largest anti-gay church organization, along with Anita Bryant, in that period when that all occurred.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
And it's, as somebody said, be careful what you wish for.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Right.
that's exactly right. Exactly right. So we wanted to tell you very quickly, next week's show, next Thursday night at 8 o'clock, we're going to have a special guest. Del Shores from Sordid Lives is going to be here. And we're going to be talking about the new show that's coming. There's a new reboot of Sordid Lives coming. We're going to tell you all about it. Now, let's play a game. We're going to ask our friend Alex to come up, and we're going to play our game called Truth or Consequences.
Let's play It's Happening Out, Truth or Consequences, as we try to fool our audience on what is the real tea from today's hottest topics and quotes from famous people. So let's play Truth or Consequences.
Now, you work in the entertainment business, so you're going to talk right into the microphone.
Like that?
Great.
He's used to putting it in his mouth
Alex
now.
is Alex Ferber, very famous DJ here in South Florida, does gigs all over the country.
You're freaking terrific, dude.
We're going to play a game here called Truth or Consequences. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a question, and you're going to hear 4 possible answers, all celebrity driven. Each of our hosts are going to read the possible answer, and 1 of the answers is true, and 3 of the answers are false. And Alex's job is to figure out which is the truthful question. Understand the rules?
Yep, I got it.
All right, so let's play Truth or Consequences. Question number 1. Are you a pageant queen? The gay community is always fascinated in beauty pageants. Tell us some of the most famous answers in the Miss USA and Miss Universe pageants. Power, what did your pageant queen say?
Okay, Al. Well, Perez Hilton asked in 2009 Miss California Carrie Prejean if she believed that every state should legalize gay marriage. Her response, I believe God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. But we are now able to choose same-sex marriage or opposite marriage, or just stay happy and avoid marriage altogether.
Opposite marriage. Aaron, what did your pageant queen say?
Kimberly Pressler, Miss USA from 1999, the year I was born, obviously, was asked if she thought
that
it was
obvious?
She was asked if it was wrong of Bill Clinton to have an affair. She said, I think it was wrong for President Bill Clinton to lie to the American people about his affair with Monica Lewinsky. If I had had an affair with the president, I would want him to tell the whole world about it.
Ooh. All right. Napoleon, what did your pageant queen say?
This was Lauren Caitlin Upton, Miss USA 2007, and Who Cares What the Bitch Was Asked. I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have the maps. And I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and Iraq and everywhere like such as, and like, I believe that they should, or education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries. So we will all be able to build up our future for our children.
That was a sketch.
That sounds like a typical Napoleon answer.
Yeah.
Really,
All
bitch?
right.
Let's play back the time frames from today and see what happened.
That was a
All right,
sketch.
Oh my goodness.
Joe, what did your pageant queen
Well,
say?
my pageant queen is Miss Alabama, Meg McGuffin. And she said, I think Trump is an entertainer. There's a wow factor with "you're fired." He's bigger than life. His hands and his orange hair aside, you can't take him seriously.
Okay. All right. So, Alex, you've heard the 4 answers.
Yep.
Which one is the real answer?
I already know this.
All right. Tell us.
This woman right here.
I'm going to reread my quote
it's
because
ridiculous.
it's important.
The real wait.
on
All
YouTube, let me
right. The real
The
answer
Iraqis.
to the pageant queen question is which one?
I personally believe that
do
U.S.
it.
Americans
All right.
Ronald
All right. That's enough.
Iraq,
Right.
South
Exactly.
America,
All right.
South Africa.
Congratulations, Alex. You got the first one right. All right, Alex.
Correct answer.
I have to say,
Consequences.
after Sean Palacios playing this game last week, you finally got one right.
Which is never what anyone has
All right.
ever
But
said.
last week, if you won, you got like a
$5,000 bar tab.
Yeah,
Not this week.
This is our sound guy.
No, right. All right.
Yeah,
That's
you're
enough.
Shell shock.
That's
That's
enough.
$1,000
All right.
right
Question
there.
number 2.
this one?
What do you think
Melon.
about gay marriage? Gay marriage was perhaps the sentinel moment for gay rights. It took so much to get it. What did these celebrities say about gay rights? Power, what did your celebrity say?
Cher said, I don't see what the problem is. Jesus had 2 dads and he came out fine.
Aaron, what did your celebrity say?
Oh my God. Megan Mullally, who played Karen Walker on Will and Grace. She said, I think that gay marriage is just as important as all of the other marriages, like lesbian marriage and Latino marriage and even poor people's marriage and those Elvis marriages too.
Napoleon, what did your celebrity say about gay marriage?
This was from Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm not going to do his voice. You can fund me on my Patreon if you want me to learn how to do that accent. I think that gay marriage is something that should be between a man and a woman.
Wow.
Okay. And Joe, what did your celebrity say about gay marriage?
My celebrity is Johnny Depp. What does gay marriage mean? If B marries T or Q or L, how the hell do you know if it's gay or straight? Right? Who gives a shit anymore?
All right. Alex?
I have no idea on this one.
All right. You know, which one do you think is the right answer?
You know what? I think
You think
yeah. that
Aaron.
kind of
All right.
struck me
All right.
as
So let's
the
find
real
out. Who is the real answer on gay marriage?
I think that gay marriage is something that should be between a man and a woman.
Thank you, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And double points if you can spell Schwarzenegger.
All right. Question number 3. All right. So you're 1-1 now, Alex. Question number 3.
All right.
How did you do in school? Celebrities seem to be geography challenged. Give us some examples of illiteracy. Power?
Well, perfect segue into Roseanne Barr. We need to hurry up and build a wall. We can't have people from Mexico or New Mexico crossing our borders.
Oh my God.
Aaron, what did your celebrity say?
Florida Governor Rick Scott, all of our favorite, I know.
Oh, fuck.
He said, I didn't read the federal budget proposals because I think that the problem with reading numbers is it just hinders the numbers of the American people who would otherwise have read the numbers for themselves.
Oh,
Do you support Rick Scott too?
I do.
All right. Napoleon, your celebrity said.
This was Mike Tyson.
Ludicrous.
The only continent I haven't been able to visit is South Africa. That includes Antarctica.
Actually, I know about that quote. Joe, what did your celebrity say?
My celebrity is Kelly Pickler. She's a contestant on Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? She said, I thought Europe was a country.
All right. So we have illiteracy problems in geography. Alex, which one is the real quote?
I want to say this one.
You
Mike
think
Tyson, yeah.
Mike Tyson's quote on Antarctica.
Antarctica.
All right, everybody. Let's see who the real answer is.
Ludicrous. No.
I thought Europe was a country.
Damn.
Kelly Pickler. All right, here we go.
Well,
Alex is trying to match Sean Palacios this week.
did he win? Oh.
All right.
Well, he only got 3.
All
He
right.
got 5.
Question number 4. I'd swallow
you, Sean.
that. I'd swallow that.
Great, here we go.
Gay guys seem to be obsessed with sex. Tell us your favorite homosex moment. Power, what did your favorite celebrity say?
Well, my stalker, Ricky Martin, said, I love giving the golden shower. I've done it before in the shower. It's like so sexy.
You can already know that was wrong. That was President Trump. Number 5.
Oh. All right, Aaron, what did your celebrity say? Homosex.
Adam Lambert said, I love to role play in the bedroom. My favorite is when I dress up all in leather and feathers and makeup, and a guy goes down on me while pretending he doesn't know I'm gay, like America did while I was on American Idol.
Ooh. Ooh. All right, Napoleon, what did your celebrity say?
An unfortunate second mention of Perez Hilton on one episode, typed out. I don't ever think about sex. I've had dudes inside of me and not even thought about it.
Oh, dear.
Like how people respond to you.
Oh. All right. And Joe, your celebrity homosex.
Homosex.
So my celebrity is Milo Yiannopoulos.
Who?
Milo Yiannopoulos.
I know who Milo is.
You do?
I do. All right.
Okay, so he said, can I say this without being banned? I love being the center of attention. And after the convention in Cincinnati at the spa at 21, I got my gangbang fantasy with Republicans.
Oh my God.
Sounds about right.
All right.
And just so
And
you
you
know,
were there.
He was
this was the outfit I wore the last night at the convention on the convention floor.
at the gang.
Do it.
All right.
All right. So,
case you
Alex,
didn't love him already.
you've heard the 4 answers. Please tell us which one do you
God.
think is the real
idea.
answer.
No idea. Let me see.
Pick. You
I
think
was-
Powers.
I was at Milo's
Powers.
function.
All right. So let's listen to what the real favorite homosex moment was.
And also, let's imagine it.
Ricky Martin.
No,
I
you want
love
Milo's?
giving the golden shower. I've done it before in the shower. It's like so sexy.
Really? He really
Congratulations. He really said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really
I wanted
did
you to
it.
read that.
All right.
Yeah,
That's
All right.
exactly what he
Alex
told me.
is
Right.
2 and 2.
I said
This one is going to
They're gonna think
determine
of
whether he
cheats.
wins or not, meaning is he going to beat Sean Palacios or he is not. All right? We're in
Didn't
the
he
same
already
place.
beat him? He got 2 right.
Well,
you, Sean.
we're doing 5
Done.
questions this week, so
Okay,
it's
well,
not fair.
Sean
All
only got
right,
one
question
right,
number
so-
We're
5.
watching actually.
I thought he got 0
Me
right.
kidding. Go back.
Question number 5. Lions, tigers, and bears, oh my. In the gay community, pets are our children. Give us examples about how our pets give us life. Pet comments, Power.
This one comes from George Michael. Having a dog is better than having a child. You feed them, play with them, and take them with you to help you at the cruising parks.
Oh Lord.
But it's Aaron.
I'd like to be at a cruising park with George
Aaron,
Michael.
what did your celebrity say about pets?
Britney Spears.
Here we go.
And that's the end of the joke. Now, Britney Spears said, I don't think it's weird to spend so much money on my dog babies or to leave their trust funds in my will. I got to travel to lots of foreign exotic places in my life, such as Canada and even Florida. And I hope that when I'm gone, they get to travel to their favorite overseas places too.
Wow. Oh my God, please let that be the one.
All right. And Napoleon, your favorite pet celebrity quote.
Napoleon apologizes for this joke.
Napoleon.
This is Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton,
Paris,
not Perez
not
Hilton.
Perez.
Learn your shit.
Somebody,
Okay, so Paris Hilton.
somebody said again.
No, Paris from whatever the hell she did to get famous in the first place. I have a very special relationship with each of my dogs. It's an intimacy no one else can experience. I totally love how they lick me.
Ooh.
Nasty bitch.
All right,
Yeah,
and
weird peanut butter
Joe, your
going on.
celebrity
Britney in
pet
Paris.
quote.
Siegfried of Siegfried and Roy. If you live with 58 lions and tigers, then you will always have a lot of pussy in house. Always.
Oh my God.
All right,
Where did
you guys
those,
come up
those
with
are
these?
celebrity quotes on pets.
Seriously.
Alex, the tiebreaker, please. Who is the real quote?
The pressure. Oh. I don't think Brittany was that stupid. I'm going to say Paris.
Paris Hilton,
Yeah.
you think about the dogs and licking.
think
All right,
she's-
let's find out what the real quote is.
If you live
Oh,
with 58
God.
lions and
Pussy.
tigers, then you will always have a lot of pussy in house. Always.
Oh, that's awesome, actually.
All right.
Bless.
Well,
Like,
Alex,
fuck, it wasn't this.
you didn't win, and we had a $10,000
Right.
bar tab here tonight. I'm sorry. You and Sean Palacious get a shot across the street.
You
at
know,
George's
child, you get some
alibi
chitlins
later.
and some pork rinds.
Thank you, and let's thank Alex Berbera for being here. All right. We do a lot of things with the Ramada, including the pool party that we are doing. It's right in the heart of Wilton Manors, and we want to show you this message from the Ramada. All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed our show tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I have laughed a lot, and that's been great. And sitting next to Napoleon, that's very hard. So I appreciate your participation tonight.
You can't say sitting next to Napoleon, that's very hard. That's not the right impression. And I call for HR.
Let me try to get it out one time only tonight.
That's all you ever have done.
For America, we wish you happy Hanukkah. All right. So
Finally.
we exist. On behalf of everyone and my friends on this panel, we wish you good night. And on behalf of Power Infiniti
Good night, children.
and Aaron Phoenix
Good night, gender fuckers.
and Napoleon Plays
Ellen, you're usually right, but come on, 12 days of Christmas during Hanukkah is wrong.
and
Good night.
Joe Brookman.
Good night. Love you, family.
And before we say a final goodnight, we want to take a moment to thank Drew, the technical manager here that has helped us so much in the last couple of weeks. Drew has done a really great job, and we thank you. And this is becoming Silver, the new bar here on Wilton Drive, and we can't wait to see what you do next. It's going to be quite exciting. And I should say to you, on behalf of everyone, if gay culture and gay community is important to you, you'll always find it's happening out. Good night, America.
Good night.